Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. I don't know what part of the world you're in, but have you smiled today? That's my new thing. Just let's get a smile in and make yourself feel good. Welcome to the Chicken Box. I'm your host, co-host, Kevin Impeccable Peck, representing the Gen Xers. I'm hearing all these letters. I'm going through the alphabet myself. I almost forgot. I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. We have a fantastic show today. We're doing Black People versus Music Legends. And we have an awesome, outstanding guest, Stephanie Mills, joining us real soon. But Dr. Draper, how are you this morning?
I
Afternoon.
am well, impeccable, and so happy to be on the Chicken Box on today. I know Impeccable is going to tell you if you're from Baltimore, you know that a chicken box is four wings and a fry with fries with most people would say hot sauce. A whole lot of folks would say ketchup. Last week, our guest said no ketchup for them. That was Westmore, I think, last week. But we are here to talk about Black people versus music legends. I'm excited about this show, and I'm representing for the boomers. We don't have any letters. You know, we didn't get reduced to a letter.
Oh, that's how you feel? Okay.
That's how I feel. Yeah.
You gonna put us on the letter today? All right.
Yeah.
And hello, I am Courtney. I am representing Gen Z. Although I'm the youngest here, I hope that I can provide some great insights. This is a exciting show, and I'm so grateful to be here to meet Stephanie Mills.
Absolutely. Music legends. What do you think about when you think of music legends? What comes to mind when you put the word legend in front of music? Because everybody does music now. I mean, yeah, you can just buy a little program and you're doing some music. But what makes it legendary? What do you think, Courtney?
So when I think of a music legend, I think Michael Jackson. Like, he can dance, he can sing. He just has that. He has it.
So it makes you a legend?
Yeah, you have to have it. Like Beyonce, you have to have like the personality, the look. Like, you have to be talented. That's what I think.
Dr. Draper?
Well, I think about sustainability and longevity, like our guest. So there are certain artists who come and go. They come with the genre of music. They come with the era. They come with the generation. Then there are others that are timeless. When you say their name, young and older alike say, yes, I know who she is. I know who he is. I know that group, and can start singing some of their songs as if they were released today. Little children know their songs. That to me is a music legend, crosses over time after time after time, like our guests. And so Courtney said Michael Jackson. If we said we played one bar of one of Stephanie Mills' songs, one bar of Marvin Gaye, everybody would know. Those are the music legends.
I agree 100%. If you just tuned in, this is the Chicken Box powered by the 130-year-old Afro-American. That's right, the oldest Black business in Maryland, third oldest Black business in the country. And we're celebrating August 13th. We're having a big party. We tried to get Stephanie. I think she was booked. Anyway, welcome to AFRO Family. Put your hands together for vocalist, mother, actress, author, activist, philanthropist, Grammy Award-winning singer, Stephanie Mills. Welcome to the Chicken Box.
Hi, everybody. Oh, I'm happy. You know, when you said chicken box, I really thought you were talking about a real chicken, chicken box. I was like, oh, yeah, we have one here. Yeah, chicken box.
So now, it's just like a Baltimore thing. It's like, you get a chicken box and you get a half and half, or in some parts of the country, they call it an Arnold Palmer with sweet tea and sweet lemonade. That's like a Baltimore classic. Everybody from Baltimore knows what a chicken box is. But when we were in the pandemic, we were going to do the show live because we figured everybody likes chicken. So we would talk to our guests and sit around and have people cook their best chicken dish, and we would eat and we would talk about life. But the pandemic hit and it turned into, of course, the streaming world. And we've been doing it ever since. So that's kind of how it started.
That's a good thing. You're keeping up with what's going on and how things are moving forward.
Absolutely. So how are you? How are you today, Stephanie?
I am fabulous. I'm doing really, really good. I can't complain at all.
Absolutely. So what part of the world are you in?
Charlotte, North Carolina.
Charlotte, New York, Brooklyn girl to Charlotte, huh?
Well, you know, my mother was from Marshville. My father was from Albemarle. So I spent all of my summers here. So I have a lot of family in Charlotte. Most of them have passed away, but I still have a great deal of family here.
They say all of us have some family in the South from some.
Yes. There's nothing like Southern living. I like Southern living.
It's kind of it beats to a different drum, right? It's kind of like a, you know. But I got good friends who say just because I talk slow don't mean I'm slow. So
Right. Right.
don't mistake the rhythm for for somebody for somebody
Right.
for being slow. We thank Daryl and Dorothy and Byron and Laura. Hello, good morning. Rachel, Bonnie, welcome to the Chicken Box. Feel free to just put comments. But we're talking about how Black people handle our legends, right? How do we deal with our music legends? Because a lot of times I've found that in culture we're kicking our own artists.
Right.
You like looking for them to make a mistake, but Stephanie's been around so long, and we'll go back to some of that. A lot of that you can Google. We'll put her website up. So, we don't want to talk about information that you can just easily just go find, you know.
Right.
But,
Right.
but for some of the generations, we will at least give you a snapshot of what makes. How long have you been in this business? Since you were 13? No,
Since I was 10.
10.
Yeah, since I was 10 years old.
10 years old. Oh my goodness! You know that man.
I,
All you,
I did the Apollo, the amateur night, when I was 11. And I won 6 weeks in a row and then got a professional booking there with the Isley Brothers.
now,
And then
what
after that, I went and did theater.
was amateur night on Wednesday still then?
Yes, Wednesdays, every Wednesday.
So this is two different things. You remember it was a big show called Showtime at the Apollo.
Right. This is completely two different
This
things.
is completely different, y'all. For
Yes.
those who wanted to be in the business, you had to go and you had to sit downstairs in
In the basement,
in the basement.
in the
Right?
basement, and wait for your turn to come up and sing. And you had to rub that the thing that I rubbed it while I was there recently, and go out there and sing, and the audience has to choose you.
Yep.
So what was that New York crowd like back then, Stephanie?
Oh, brutal! You know they're still brutal. New York crowds are they're unapologetically raw and true. They don't care if they like you, they like you. If they don't, they don't. But and I appreciate that though. I still
Absolutely.
appreciate that in my audiences. I still do.
Yeah, and I have some New York friends who said Baltimore is even worse than that New York crowd. I mean, they
I
like
love I love playing Baltimore though.
if you win Baltimore over, they will love you forever. You can come there, but I can't remember the artist. He said a person stood up, folded his arms, and booed the whole.
Well, that was one person. That was not a native Baltimorean. And Stephanie Mills knows when she comes to Baltimore, we just
I'm
love.
not talking about Stephanie. We're talking about how
Yeah,
when
I
a
know in
person,
general.
when you haven't won a city over, um, then that tough crowd will test you, will battle test you, of what you're made of. The legendary, if you just tuned in and you don't know who we're talking to, this is the legendary Stephanie Mills, who's started performing at 10 years old and is still going and traveling around the
At
world
65.
at 60. I didn't want to say the age, but some women, but she put it out there. She don't look 65. Yeah, let me just, let's do a close up. That is not 65. That is that is definitely not 65. So Courtney, Gen Z, what questions were on your mind when we started to talk about this show with Stephanie Mills? I just want to see what your generation is thinking.
So you mentioned that you started in the industry at 10 years old. What influenced you to start a career in the music industry?
I always sang as a little girl. I used to sing around the house, and I just loved to sing in church. I'd be in the church choir. And I was baptized at Cornerstone Baptist Church, and I really didn't like pursue it myself. I think my family just thought I sang so much that I might as well go and do it professionally, and they took me for an audition. I went and I won the 6 weeks at the Apollo, and then I auditioned for Maggie Flynn, which was a show that was going to Broadway, and it ran 9 months on Broadway. And then I did the Electric Company and all those little shows that were out, that like Captain Kangaroo and Dinah Shore and all those shows. And I liked it. I liked to sing, so they said I might as well make money at it.
That sounds like a good reason to do it. I like to sing too, but I don't think anybody's gonna pay me.
But I think I feel so fortunate for people to really actually, especially how hard money is to come by now, to pay and see you. So I really make it my business to hone my craft still and sing and exercise so I can at least sound somewhat like I sounded back in the day. That's very important to me.
Fun fact, guys, you know, I manage Drew Hill. We have the legendary record Tell Me, and that we're probably one of the first groups that jump and sing without your voice shaking. I witnessed Stephanie Mills in New Orleans jumping. She wasn't doing the Tell Me jump. She was doing the Stephanie jump. Her voice did not move at all. And the 65. So whatever you're doing to work out, Stephanie, please keep doing it, because it was amazing. See, when you have a gift and you take care of it, you could pretty much sing forever. You know what I mean? You know, you become. Somebody said you're forever young on here. Let's see. Thank you, Greg, Tracy, tuning in. Put what city you from? Sylvia, Gwendolyn, Houston. I don't know. Brenda said hi. You have a bunch of love coming your way, and this is about really giving our legends flowers. And you came and you talked to the Black press in New Orleans, and
yes.
Now, this doesn't happen normally, y'all, but because I'm in the music business and I know her manager, he allowed us to come backstage. And so then Dr. Draper, which is my mother, in case you didn't know, it's now out there, all right? And Stephanie began to have their own dialogue, and they said, hey, come on. And so that's what brought today's stream together. So I thank you just for your openness, one, to speak to the Black press, because it was a difference. Because typically they'll bring entertainment to just sing at an event.
Well, they didn't bring her to just sing. Now, she received the National Newspaper Publishers Association, that's the trade association for the Black press. She received our 2022 Legacy Award.
Absolutely.
So we invited her to New Orleans so that we might first honor her for her achievements. And so, yes, she performed, but we were there to really honor her. And I'll let her say in her own words a little bit of what she said to us about what the Black press means to her.
The Black press means everything. It means everything. I mean, when the Wiz started, we couldn't get really a good audience until we my mother would belong to Cornerstone Baptist Church, which is a huge Black church. And then Ken Harper, who was the producer, his mother belonged to a church that was a huge. But the Black press kept us alive. After we did, the commercial and everything, then the white press and everybody came along. But I really feel that our artists, when they get to a certain point, and I said this to you, Dr. Draper, that they forget that the Black press was the one who brought them over. So you got to go back and you can't, you got to go back to your bread and butter. And I don't think a lot of Black artists that cross over, and I hate that word, but cross over, forget that we was the ones supporting them before the white people were.
Yep.
Speak on it.
And that's a fact. That's just really a fact. And then when they're done with you, then they send you right back to being Black again. And that's just true. I mean, that's just a fact. And I've lived long enough and been in this business long enough and experienced a lot of different situations to know that is just fact. And I often think about artists that are out there now who are on that pop reel. It's not going to be that way forever.
That's true. I mean, because going through the cycle that you've gone through in music, you've gotten a chance to see it all. You've seen good, bad, the ugly, and then the good and the great.
And what I really dislike is their people keep them away from the black press. They use you guys when they're trying to get the first record and that. And then once they become huge, then you can't even get them on the phone. And I just don't think that's right.
Right.
And then when they're not popular anymore, then they want to come back to you.
Absolutely. And the question I have, especially for our Black community, why don't we continue to embrace and love our legends? Now, some do. Now, the people on here will probably do. But, you know, with social media, it seems like everybody's looking for a way. Oh, so-and-so fell down the steps. You know, I saw so-and-so working at the super, whatever. They are always negatively trying to tear our people down who have made an impact a lot of times around the world. But now, Stephanie, speak on your experience sometimes outside of the U.S. It's a whole different. It's a whole different game.
They love you. They treat you with the utmost respect. You know, going to Japan and other places, they love on you. But here, they love when they want to beat you up. They want to tear you down. They want to talk about you, and I don't understand it. I don't understand why we have such a hate for ourselves. And even when you talk about the black on black crime, we're killing each other more than white people are shooting us. You little young boys, like especially here in Charlotte, just the other day, a 13 and a 12-year-old shot a woman getting her money out of the ATM. And it's like, why do you choose to kill each other? Why do we choose to hate on each other? Why is there so much jealousy amongst? We should be like the Ukrainians who come together and fight for their country. Black people can really take a lesson from them.
I agree. If you just tuned in, this is the Chicken BOXX, powered by the Afro American newspaper. If you didn't know, we're the oldest Black business in Maryland. I'm just going to put it out there.
Right.
Those who have ever started a business know the average business doesn't make it 3 to 5 years. Most of them are 1 to 2 people businesses, and they're trying to make their way and figure it out. But for 6 generations, this media company, that's what we'll call them now, has pressed on just to inform, educate, and inspire. And we are, I like to say, a paper of record. We're a media company of record. And our archives are the most extensive. So if you're in the Baltimore area, I'm great. Here's my shameless plug, y'all. Please come to the gala. All right. It's a time to dress up. We got Kid Capri, and we have in Living Colors Only Tommy Davidson hosting it. We have a local band, Absolute Band. So you're going to have a mix of everything. But the most thing, we're going to celebrate each other.
Yes.
Beautiful Black people. We're going to dress up. It's going to be red carpet sexy. A night out with your lady. Night out with your significant other. Girls night out. And maybe guys, if the girls are coming and you single, you come on too. It's going to be a time to really experience. It's going to be a lot of powerful people. And the powerful people are everybody. If you haven't noticed that you're powerful, here it is. Newsflash, you're powerful. So come to the gala Saturday, August the 13th, and celebrate. I mean, it blows my mind, Stephanie, every time I think of 130 years. And then I think of your legendary career starting at 10 years. That is a long time to do something. And people say, a lot of people go to work for money. But when you do what you love,
it's not about the money all the time.
The money is people who like to they will be singing after their concert in their dressing room. They'll be singing in the morning. They'll be singing. You know, sometimes they'll be on the airplane humming and with their earphones on, and people don't even know why they're singing. People who have music that just flows out of them, and that gift is amazing. Okay, so let's go back to you won the Apollo. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You shut the critics down, because if you shut the people up in New York, they're gonna love you.
Right.
I'm telling you, Drew Hill, when we first went up there, we would drive from Baltimore to go up on a Wednesday night, and these kids in high school, they had dyed their hair before they had even come out. And you know, as soon as they hit the stage, New York almost had a heart. I mean, they had a field day laughing and joking. But once they sang a Jodeci record, it shut it down. Once Stephanie Bills got out on that same stage, which she got it before us, and she shut it down. You moved to what? You had the Broadway. Was it an audition for Broadway?
Yeah, I had to audition for Broadway. It was Maggie Flynn and Giancarlo Esposito was in that play with me. Irene Cara, who did Flashdance and won an Oscar for that song. They were in the show with me. And then I had a record out called "I Knew It Was Love," and that's how they heard about me for The Wiz.
I knew it was love. Y'all got to look back this catalog. Lisa, if you could put Stephanie's website up before we get off, so people can just go and see the master work. Dr. Draper, you're on mute if you're talking.
I got to get my mug. We have a mug, Stephanie, that says you're on mute. But I have a question for you. I think in our conversation, even New Orleans, about how some people wanted you to change your voice to fit their I guess their model of what you should sound like. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, when I signed with MCA and I was having records out, some people were like, you need to change and take some of the R&B out of your voice so that you can sound a little bit more pop. And I never wanted to do that because really, what is Justin Timberlake trying to sound like? Us. What is Adele trying to sound like? Us. So you're telling me that it's okay for them to have soul, but not me? And this is where it comes from? We're the root of it? No, I never, and I used to get told a lot of stuff like, oh, well, you're a little too dark or you're short. I mean, I used to get told all that kind of stuff, but my mother always said, Cookie, don't pay any attention to what them, you keep your trust in God. And that's what she would always tell me and never look back. So, and I had a strong Black Southern mother. So, I listened to her and I took her advice. And that's how I've been able to sustain myself all these years. But they really do try to make you, and I see the artists today doing just foolish things. And I know somebody's telling them, oh, if you do this, this will give you a lot of press. And now it's like, what won't you do to be famous? See, I didn't want to be famous. I wanted to sing and have a good time and do shows. I love to tour. So I wasn't trying to be the most famous person. I just wanted to do what I was doing. And I wasn't willing to do whatever they wanted me to do. So I wasn't that popular. Because they would be like, oh no, don't ask her. She's not gonna do it. And like the others, take off all your clothes or go see this, or it's just foolishness. Now that I'm older, I look at it and it's foolishness.
Absolutely. Greg says hello. Derek, thank you for tuning in. Lisa, Randy said preach. Daniel has a question. Do you control your catalog?
Yes.
Okay. Explain that for somebody who might not know what a catalog is.
Well, catalog are your songs, and after like 35 years, it reverts back to you, but you still have to get lawyers and everything to get it back to you. But it's important to control you. It's important, and that's what I've always tried to do when I wanted to dissolve my record companies, because I had been in the business a long time, and I had a record deal my entire life. And I no longer wanted that rat race. I kind of wanted to just record when I wanted to. So I got rid of all my contracts. I don't do contracts. We'll do a letter of agreement and that's it. But all that contract and all that's still foolishness to me. And there's no reason for a young person now to sign with a record company, because a record company is just a high price marketing company. That's all they are. So they shouldn't get as much money, get as much control over your catalog or your music as they do. And a lot of people don't realize that. You can own your own. And if you were going to sign with a record company, then you just sign a deal like they are a distribution company.
Absolutely. Now, everybody wants to be famous.
Right.
There are lines and lines of people who line up for the people at American Idol and America Who's Got Talent to tell them they stink, or they, you think you're the best person in your little town until you get up against the country or the world and find out maybe you need to go back to work. Like you know what I mean? Like I always say, you need a little bit more training, right?
Right.
But what makes a person a star in your eyes, Stephanie?
Oh my God, I'm the worst person to ask that because I don't, I don't think they're stars. I think that you are a professional. I'll say what makes a person great is someone that hones their craft, that has taken care of their body, that knows that they have a gift and they have to take care of it. I think that's what makes a person great. But I don't believe in stars and all that. I think people are just great at what they do, great athletes like Steph Curry, who could shoot better than him at in this time. But the greats like Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson, they're great players. They're not stars, but they're great. I don't think they're stars. They're just great at what they do because they worked very hard. I don't think that you become a great entertainer unless you really, really study what you want to do, know who you are, know what your capabilities are and your shortcomings, and really just hone into that and stay on your path. I've never tried to compete with anybody but myself. I've always like, I'm going to be better than I was with that last song or look better than I did last year or whatever. I've never competed with another female singer.
That's a great. That is a great. I guess segue. It is a great concept. It's a great mindset to go from stars because everybody wanted to be a star, and back in the day, of course, Hollywood and the music industry would say that they manufactured a star based on what they wrote about you in these periodicals and how they portrayed you and the kind of the press. And you spoke on it earlier of how they would just throw you out, right? Once they were
Yeah.
done with you.
Now they're very protective when they're grooming you for what they want to do. But once they're finished and they want the new flavor of the month, then they're done with you. Just like they threw Michael Jackson under the rug and what's his name, O.J. Simpson. And the problem with sometimes people like O.J. didn't want to be black or white. He was just O.J. No, you're a black man. You're a football player. You're not accepted by them. And the problem that we have is so many of our artists want to be accepted by the white pop genre. You'll never be accepted. You'll be tolerated, but you'll never be accepted.
Mm, that is a word. We're gonna play that sound clip for all of the artists to hear because you've lived long enough to see. You know what I mean? Like some people haven't experienced enough time to see that these things are going to happen.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know, like I mean, I was sitting down early in my career with some Caucasian lawyers, and they were like, "It's not if the group is going to leave you; it's when." And so their whole mindset was how they could, I would just say, pimp the artist as much as possible. And
Before
I
they
looked at
leave.
them, and I looked at them like, I heard it and I saw it. It just didn't. I mean, I'm in kind of a unique situation because I kind of have been with my team for 25 years, so that's a long time. They say in this business, but
Yes.
you will meet, and I know you've experienced different teams because like every artist has a team with them. Shout out to
Yes.
Amp,
Yes.
my good friend who is who
Yeah.
is
And
who
he's absolutely the best manager that I've ever had. And I've had quite a few.
and
But
he probably didn't even want to do it.
oh no, he didn't want to do it. I had to ask him like 7 times, but he used to promote my show so well, and he was always so kind to me. And then one time we just started talking and stuff, and then he came out on the road to visit me because I said, "Amp, just come out and see if you'd like to do this." He said, "Well, I'll come out and help you." I said, "Well, if you're gonna come out and just help me, you might as well just manage me." And then he decided to do it. And I'm
Absolutely.
so glad because he accepts me for who I am. He's my accountability partner. Because I'm really like an Angela Davis kind of person. I am very, very pro-black. I love our black people, even though they can get on your nerves and not do what they're supposed to do all the time. But my mother was like that. So I'm very much like my mother. My mother brought me up to love us and not trust them. She used to always say, Cookie, You can't trust them. You have to watch them. You have to watch everything. She used to always say, "Watch as well as pray." So that's what I've always done. And through me being in the business as long as I have, and dealing with whites and agents and lawyers and stuff, you cannot trust them. They don't read those contracts that they put people in. They may do a little spot, but they do not read it word for word. I learned,
Absolutely.
I learned how to read my own contracts because of that.
Well, here's the music business, right? This is pretend this is a check. This is a check, okay? I'm coming from the hood. I don't have a lot of money. I have a great talent. It's a big, thick contract of a lot of words
Right.
and a check bigger than I've ever seen in my life. Both hit the table. It's time to do the deal. Do you have representation there? Some of our artists have.
No.
Most of them didn't. They said, I'm going to get this check and this looks okay. this thick document that was put together by some of the best lawyers in the world looks okay, but it turns out to not be okay.
No, and what they don't realize is that nice little check that they gave you, you're gonna pay that back.
Absolutely.
But
Now
they didn't realize that.
it's two sides to it, like you said, Stephanie. Today we have the internet, we can reach people differently than back when you signed, your first record deal. But it's a double-edged sword, right? Because if you don't sign the contract, they don't spend these millions of dollars to make your brand worldwide and nobody knows about you. And so Babyface once said to us when we were making a record with him, the music business really starts for you when you outlive all your bad agreements. So when you outlive all of your bad deals that you signed in your youth days, because that was an end. You know what I mean? Sometimes
Right.
we're not saying everybody who wants to be in the music business don't take the end, because sometimes the end is better than you just posting on YouTube and hoping that people like it or watch it or view it, because you still have to cultivate a career. So let's talk. Let's fast forward. You on Broadway. How many days did you work on Broadway?
You do 8 shows a week.
8 shows a week.
8 shows a week. You do two on Wednesday and two on Saturday, and then one on Sunday, and you're only off on Monday.
So for all of you inspiring Broadway stars,
It's not easy, but I'm so glad I came from that because it taught me discipline. It taught me that I had to know my lines, my songs, everything. I don't think I would be the entertainer I am or have the discipline or even have my voice now if I didn't come from that kind of structured uh, place. It was the best place to come from.
absolutely, because some people, even when you're seeing them sing on American Idol or whatever, they look like a fish out of water when they first ask them what they're going to sing. You know what I mean? And I think all of those hours on Broadway just give you, I like to say, the confidence, right?
Yes, the confidence and the rehearsal. You got to remember you going through rehearsals. There's like maybe 3 months of rehearsal before you even get to the stage.
3 months for a show of
Yeah,
rehearsal.
so that we rehearsed for the Wiz about 3 months, 2.5 months, 3 months, and then you do 12 to 12, which means you come in, you do 12, you come in at 12 o'clock, and you don't leave till after 12 midnight.
Wow, that is you see what you think you see as the end result of a great I'm not even going to use the word star. I'm kicking it out of a great artist. Let me see.
Well,
Yeah,
somebody just said they saw me on the Wiz 5 times and the Bud now the Budweiser Superfest. Oh man, we used to have so much fun on that.
man, Derek, you taking us back, my friend. Who
Yes.
who remembers that, the Budweiser Superfest? Put in
Oh
the
my
chat
God. I
if
used to
you.
love doing the Budweiser Superfest.
Little known fact, there was a gentleman named Al Heyman.
No, no, not Al Haymon. Before him, it
Before Al.
was what's his name? Somebody named Michael. He did ice skating. And
Uh,
he really did a good job with us. Al Heyman came in and made it a whole nother different thing. I love Al Heyman, but he wasn't the best promoter. I knew Al Heyman when he was in Boston. Patty and I gave him his first shows. But then he turned out to be one of those kind of people that, like I said, made it off of our backs and then turned and made it work against us. And I'm not afraid to say it. I don't care.
I don't care either because Al was my best friend when he wanted he once paid us a six-figure amount of money to sit out for a tour so that we can go on this Mary J. Blige tour. I had every number, his house number, his card number, I'm telling you, it was when he was done, and this is a brother, you know, you hear him in boxing, and I don't care about throwing him under the bus either, because you need to get checked sometimes when you act,
Absolutely.
when you act crazy.
Yeah, he was crazy.
But he acted like he had never met me. You know what I mean? I'm like,
exactly. He was that kind of nigga.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Doc.
Look, we let Al trigger us today.
You okay? Al pushed the button.
Al pushed the button. Good thing he went to boxing now, so he's not so much.
I'm glad he's in boxing because he was. I mean, Patty and I did so much for him early on in his career, and then when he went to Live Nation and just shut out all the other black promoters, I didn't think that was right. You know, he made it very easy for them to shut the other black promoters down because he was the number one promoter out there. And I'll tell that to his face.
Absolutely. If you can find him, because you never see him. He's like Charlie's Angels. You never see him.
I know, because he done did so much dirt.
Welcome to the Chicken BOXX, everybody. We have Stephanie Mills. We're talking Black people versus music legends. We're going back down memory lane. We're talking about some great moments in history. We're giving a little education. We got Courtney Alexander, our Gen Z, hanging out. So, Courtney, have you ever heard Stephanie's music?
Yes.
All right. Oh, talk to me, Courtney. What you thinking right now? I know you're sitting there enjoying the knowledge, but I always like to bring you into the conversation just to see what you're thinking about right now as we walk down this memory lane a little bit.
So you mentioned experiencing negativity throughout your career. Like, what are some ways that you overcame like that negativity and people who doubted you?
I just didn't pay them any attention. I mean, it's like everybody has an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But I have always been a person who prayed about everything. That's the way my mother taught me. And I listened to my intuition. Women have this thing called intuition that never fails us. So I listened to my intuition. Sometimes I was wrong, but whenever I listened to my right mind, things always worked out. Because people will give you bad advice and laugh at you.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Courtney, the people who pretty much talk about you the most are the most insecure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Usually. And so Stephanie, for those out there, Stephanie just dropped another nugget. You can't listen. If you listen to everybody, you're going to be doomed. You know what I mean? If you start taking everybody's opinion on who you should be, how you should do it, God made you individually you.
And you know who I got that from? Like, because I was close to Bill Cosby. And I remember him telling me one time, please yourself. If you please yourself and you do what you're supposed to do, then somebody out there is going to like it. But if you listen to everybody else, you'll just be all jumbled and mixed up. But please yourself and know what you're doing is the right thing for you. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I want to show some people. Can you guys see this? Let me see if I can blow a little bit. And you can walk us through some of these pictures. Here you are with
this picture, the top picture with the scarecrow and the lion. That's Stu Gillum. Stu Gillum was the very first scarecrow, and we were doing 12 by 12, and Stu was very tired. In the second half of the show, he decided he didn't want to go back on. Tiger and Ted Ross and I begged him to go back on because the people from 20th Century Fox were sitting in the audience and they were watching the show. He didn't go back on, and his understudy went back on, and his understudy was the one who went to Broadway.
Wow. So there always is an understudy ready to go on.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So they come to the show just in case.
They're,
Every night.
they're part of the cast. They may even have another role in the show. They're
Gotcha.
part of the cast. Your understudy always has to be there because you could get sick, you could get whatever. And the really wonderful thing about doing Broadway is the second picture is when I did it when I was 25. I did a revival of it, and that's Greg. Greg, what is his last name? I can't remember his last name, but that's Greg as the lion. And this picture down where I'm standing in front of my dress, that's at the Black Museum in Washington D.C.
What?
Yeah, that's the Black Museum. Yeah, and then when you see me with Michael MJ, we dated for a while in the '80s. There's
Uh-oh. All right. It all comes out on the Afro, y'all.
a,
So okay, okay. So Cisco said he met Michael, and he was nothing like people portrayed him. He had a deep voice, he had a firm handshake, and it was like the person that you seemed like it was maybe a soft-spoken, fragile guy. This was not the Michael he met.
Oh, absolutely not. No, Michael was that was more for press, I think, and what he did. But Michael was very smart, very loving, very he liked to laugh. He liked to do like he loved chocolate chip cookies and we spent a lot of time together when he was that Michael. I didn't know him too much once he started to change and go in another direction because I didn't understand it. But he wasn't soft spoken. Oh, look at Entume. You got pictures of Entume and Reggie Lucas, who have now both passed on. And of course, Minister Farrakhan, who is like a father to me. I've been around and known Pops since I was 16 years old.
Absolutely. You guys, you can see these wonderful pictures at stephaniemills.com. I am stephaniemills.com.
I am Stephanie Mills. And then there's my Yum Yum manager in the red, in the with Mike Epps up there.
All right. So we're gonna scroll through. We're not gonna give everybody everything, but when you're a legend, you have those legendary moments. This was before a lot of this was before smartphones.
Exactly.
And before video and the things. And I'm sure when we go through the 130th, we'll see in the archives the Afro has some one-of-a-kind shots of you as well.
Yes.
Let me just say hi to everybody still tuning in. Derek's still hanging out. Rochelle, Dana, my wife is in the building. Craig Talley said, "Ask Stephanie about." Oh, okay. He already. I'm going back. She said the minister is like a father to him. Greg, Dwayne, how you doing, Dwayne? Dr. D. Daisy Jones.
Sean Mason said she's done the Wiz several times, I guess, in her class.
She went to both Detroit and Cincinnati. My brother never liked working with Al. We done stirred Al up, huh?
He done stirred Al up. He's gonna call and be like, "What you talking about?"
Yeah, what y'all talking about me for?
Yeah.
Show yourself.
I hope he does. I hope he does. We'll post them. We have 665,000 followers on Facebook. So Al, come on, we're ready.
We'll have him on the Chicken BOXX. He can tell his side of the story.
Somebody said, "Where's my book?" I will never write a book about my life.
Will you allow somebody else to do it?
Nope.
Nope. But there you go.
Think certain things should just go to the grave. And I think I've expressed a lot about who I am in my life, and you could see the way I live. I just Amp wants me to do one, but what I am going to do is I'm going to write about, because a lot of people ask, because my son has Down syndrome and he's special needs. But my son just graduated from high school and he got all A's and 1 B. So I get a lot of people that bring their children to the show and they ask me how, why is Farad so verbal and he's so, because I didn't raise him like he had special needs. I didn't raise him like there was something wrong with him.
Absolutely. We were backstage. We were talking about when he going to get his driver's license. We're like, when you going to drive, homie?
Yeah, I didn't raise him like that.
Hey, so I mean, that in itself, for any special needs parents out there, love always wins. I have a shirt.
Love always wins.
Love always wins, and he is with you. And he travels the world too, huh?
He travels. He's with me everywhere I go. He knows my schedule better than I do. And
Yeah.
he's now working on his second book. So when he does his second book, I want him to come on and talk to you
So
guys.
he's done a book, but Mama's not gonna do a book. Look, Stephanie,
No, he's already done a book. He has a
that's
book.
what I'm trying to say.
Right.
That's
And
what
he's working on his second book.
that's what the fans are trying to say. Look, see the things that people don't need to hear, don't put it in the book. There's some things, right? And Amp will agree with me, that will inspire a young lady, a young girl. You know what I mean? That will give some people some insight on what it is to be great. Because a lot of times they don't have a lot of role models or examples. So if not, somebody mentioned in there a biopic. If something that inspires, because you have a fantastic story, you know what I mean? That
I
needs
do,
to be
really.
told.
I do. I have a lot, I've experienced a lot. For me to get to talk to Ella Fitzgerald and Lena Horne and Pearl Bailey and people like that came backstage and gave me, and even First Lady Jacqueline Kennedy and people like that came back to see The Wiz. It was just incredible, unbelievable. And I learned so much from that and the advice that they gave me.
So you have to write a book. So listen, so let me put this out there. I'm on the box. The book really is not about you. It's about the life lessons that you can share with someone who has not lived the life that you've lived.
That's true.
And
That's
so when you look at it from that perspective and say, you know what, I was the one that God used at this moment for this time to do
right.
these things at a time when people who look like me could not do those. And I didn't compromise. I kept my clothes on. I kept my morals high. I remember what my mother taught me. These are the lessons that young and not so young need to hear from a great person like you, because other people are whispering in their ear and saying, if you don't do this, if you don't do this video, if you don't take your clothes off, if you don't live a certain lifestyle, you can never make it. No, we need to say, but you need to read Stephanie Mills's book, because this is the antithesis of what the world was teaching you. So I want to inspire you to write a book, not about you, but about your life and the life lessons, so that
That
young people with a talent who are being prostituted and used, right, and then get burned out at 25 can understand what it takes to get to 65 and still have people calling you up and saying, can you do my show? So I'm off the box.
that's amazing. You just gave me chills. That's amazing because I'm almost embarrassed by some of the things I see some of the women doing today. It makes me blush. I'm embarrassed by it because I don't understand why they're doing that.
Right. And so if the young people see that and think that they're making it, you know, from behind, and you're not afraid to say it. Some folk are afraid to say what really goes on and they go along to get along, but you've always stood on your principles and not been afraid to say what's really going on. And so that is why you have to
Right.
have the book written.
Yeah. Yeah. From that perspective, yeah, I could see that because some of and the thing about it is they get you to do all this stuff that they say you need to do to become famous, and then you become famous, and then they drop you off.
Right. They
You never
drop
do
you.
it again.
Right. Right. They drop you like it's hot
They
because
drop you like it's hot.
Mhm.
Do you hear me? You know it. They do, and I see it. And even when I did like the Wiz live and the young girl that played Dorothy, they were all on her and all everybody was pulling her this way and that way and that way. And now you don't hear from her. And it was like I could have told you that was going to happen. But a lot of times people don't want to talk to somebody like me because they think I'm a has-been or I don't know. But I'm like, I didn't live for 65 years and still be able to go out and not know a
Correct.
little bit what I'm talking about.
You know a lot of what you're talking about, and we've been reading the chat, and you've got fans all over who are following you and know your music, and so it's that's what it means to be a legend. Legend is about legacy. So I
Yeah.
do hope, Amp, let's keep pushing her to get that book.
I know he's loving you right now, Dr. J, because he's been trying to get me to write this book.
Well, let's get it done, and you don't have to do the actual writing. There's so many people that will just have you
I
tell their
know, well,
story.
the young lady that does Farad's book, she would write it for me,
Okay.
because we started working on a book on how I raised Farad. But she's now going to work with him on his book. So maybe after Farad writes his book and I get that out there, I'll think about writing a book.
Well, that's good.
We just got something from our archive, Stephanie.
What?
This was let me see. Can you guys see this?
Yes.
This was the Afro American newspaper back in March 7th, 1981 from our archive.
81. Wow.
40 cents. The subscription was $20
Wow.
a year, and it was Stephanie Mills, Queen Soul.
See?
And that was written by Ida Peters, our late aunt.
Oh, wow.
Who was the entertainment editor at the time. Thank you for sharing.
Wow.
They're sending me, they're digging in the archives now. They're starting to see what is.
Well, you know, it's so funny because even when I was signed with MCA and I do my videos, I was like, we got to have Black people cooking and Black people around here. We can't do videos and I'm a Black artist and I'm surrounded by all whites. I was very much like, so they really kind of like, you know, they were like, you know, but that's so true. We are Black artists. We can't be totally surrounded by white people. There got to be some Black people that can do what they can do. Now, I know that we have to work with them. I'm not saying that we don't have to work with them, but sometimes you see our Black artists and they have nothing but whites around them.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you know that, baby boy. I know you know that.
Right.
Absolutely,
and
absolutely. We got MP Hamilton, Eric Parker saying yes, indeed. Gerald Smith said you're a legend. Y'all preaching. The ladies are preaching today, y'all. Brandon and Larkins. What impression did Prince have any impression? I'm sorry.
Oh yes, I loved Prince. Oh, I loved Prince.
His fight for owning his own music.
It's so. I'll tell you a story about Prince. They were honoring him at the Soul Train Awards, and they had somebody else singing "How Come You Don't Call Me," and Prince called me himself, and it was the day before the show, and he said, "I want you to come down and sing that song." And I got myself together and went down there the next day and performed it on the show for him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because I thought you were going to talk about the performance when they asked somebody to send something for Prince, and it was bad. I don't remember which show that was, but anyway, everybody can. You know, what I mean, some people need to stay in their lane. In their lane, you know, what I mean, everybody can't vocally handle all of the records when you're honoring a person, but I think you did it justice.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Richie Rich, Stephanie keeps it 100. Please know you are deeply loved, Cindy.
Oh, thank you, Cindy. I know. I feel it. I think that people appreciate me being honest because there's so many artists that are so afraid. They're so strapped. They're so afraid to say what they want to say because they feel like they'll be blacklisted. I've been threatened to be blacklisted, you know, all the time, but I'm like, I'm Black. So blacklist me if you want.
Right. I mean, like, what does that mean?
What does that mean? I mean, what does it mean? I'm like, oh, okay. So I never let their threats and their, you know, like one time I complained about a show that I really didn't like the way we were treated. And they were like, well, Stephanie, you're never going to work in that building again and you're going to be blacklisted. And I went there the next year and sold out the place. So I really want people, especially our Black artists, please listen to me. They do not have the control that they think they have. God ultimately is the controller. If you're doing what you need to do and you have people around that are diligently working on your behalf, they can't stop you. They can't.
Absolutely. I mean, that is a big thing. You know what I mean? They want to define you. They want to put you in the box. They want to control you. The records, when you make them for the record labels, are called masters.
Right.
That's a weird name for
I always
like they own your masters. You know what I mean? And
that's
like
slavery.
You
when I look back at it now, it's slavery. A lot of it's just really slavery. And
Mhm.
even with the press people and people like the one thing that Trump did was show us, take the blinds off of the way people really felt. You got to remember 75 million people voted for him. That's 75 million people that are racist in this country. And then there's the sprinkle of them that are hiding behind. But black people should never feel that they are accepted in that world. Never. I've been to some of the best places. I've been to the White House twice when Carter was there, when Reagan was there. I've been to all the upper echelon, whatever that bullshit is. Excuse me, Dr. Shaker. But it's never, you're never accepted. I'm here to tell you. I mean, I've been high. I just, and I've had hit records. I've won Grammys. I've won I've won every award that there is to win in this industry. And I'm telling you, you're never, I've been on Broadway and they call that the Great White Way. And it's so racist. It really is. That's why all the people now on Broadway are like, we need more color. Why? And like, I was doing an interview. I know, and I'm talking, but
This is about you. Come on, let's talk.
but I was doing an interview for Broadway. They were talking about certain things, and they said, well, maybe, we need to give it more time for them to include us. I said, I was on Broadway when I was 10 years old. I'm 65. How much more time do they need? That's crazy to me.
It's always that. It's like that in Vegas.
Yes.
It's like that, in Broadway. It, if they could still steal our music and put another face on it, they would.
Oh,
They
absolutely.
just can't now. You know what I mean? Because that's what they used to do back in the day. It'll be somebody else singing. They put somebody else's picture on, and we know that person can't sing like that. They've even relegated Stephanie, and you being a big R&B star as well. I mean, great R&B, great. The category for these Grammy and these awards to R&B and hip hop. How do you combine somebody who raps against somebody who sings?
It's
Like that makes
but
they trying to do away with the whole genre.
it was strategically done to get rid of R&B. How
Absolutely.
can you say Justin Timberlake is the R&B guru? He's not.
Not at all.
Justin Timberlake used black producers to do his thing, but he married the whitest white girl he could marry. Now, if you so black and you so R&B, sure. I'm really just, I know I'm going to get in trouble for all this, but I don't care. It's so true. It's like they want to get rid of R&B. But if Adele sings a song with a little bit of soul in it, then she's played on all black stations. And now, because black people did not pay attention to their black radio stations, they're owned by white corporations. See, the black people were out partying and being important instead of paying attention to the business. And that's how I feel because I was married to Michael Saunders, who was a program director for WJLB in Detroit and also here. And I would go to a lot of the radio things back then, and they were not paying attention.
Not at all. I mean, we need to wake up.
I mean, honey, you think?
How are you on time, Stephanie? Are you good on time?
I'm good
Okay.
on time.
All right. So Courtney, jump in.
I just have a comment. It's so refreshing to see that you are authentic, that you speak the truth, that you aren't afraid of that. I feel like people in my generation, like they hold back from speaking the truth and remaining true to themselves because they want to fit in with everyone else. So that is amazing to see. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. I think when you are not authentic, and I understand, don't get me wrong, I understand that we have to deal with certain situations, but you don't have to sell your soul. You don't have to totally not be who you are and you don't have to get along to get along. We're individuals, and I know, like, I was out at my girlfriend Holly Robinson, Pete, I did her thing just a couple of months ago. And somebody asked me, what was my pronoun? I didn't know what the hell they were talking about. And I said, now, Courtney, what is that all about? The pronouns, the them, the they. Please explain that to me.
I have my own opinion about that, but I think that my generation, instead of like thinking for themselves, they want to like just jump on a trend. So I think that it's like gender versus, I guess, what you classify as your sex, I guess. So it's confusing. I'm even confused. So I don't ask. I'm like, y'all
But
do
I'm
y'all.
a 65-year-old woman, and when they asked me that, I was like, "What? What are you asking me?" I said, "Look at me. I'm a woman. I'm a woman, and I love men." Um, I think all of that's kind of crazy. Well, not crazy, but I think love is love. Let me say that love is love. But I don't agree with men with beards and mustaches wearing all this makeup and then don't want to be called a woman. First of all, you're not a woman if you just put on a dress. You're not. I don't know what the transgender is now. I thought transgender meant when they totally don't have any of their male but now that's different, especially with what's his name, Bruce Jenner. I will never call him Caitlyn. He's Bruce Jenner. He's just a woman that dresses up in drag. That's it. And I don't care who don't like it. That's it.
This is where you speak your truth on the Chicken Box show. If you just turned into the Chicken Box, tuned in, this is not your full wings and fries part of the show. This is the part of the show where you get to speak your truth, because everybody does not have to conform to what you think they should conform to. They don't have to like what you like. They don't have to listen to the music that you listen to.
Right.
And they don't have to, because you wake up and say you're them. I can't keep up. Just, what is your name, please? Because I need to know your name, because they ask you on a Zoom, what's your pronoun? I'm like,
They ask you on a Zoom,
put your pronoun on these meetings, and I'm like,
what does that have to do with the meeting that you're having?
When did this start? When did all these pronouns?
Right, because you know what that's asking? That's asking what's your sexual preference. Because I'm looking at you, you're a man. I'm looking at her, she's a woman. What? Get out of here with that. Go away with that, please.
Dr. Draper, what do you think about these pronouns? I don't even know how we got here.
I think that's another whole chicken box.
Absolutely. But we're in the culture. We're talking to a legend, Stephanie. You love the Black press. We love you. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
The Black press always is there. You know what I mean? We're like God. We're here with our open arms for our people all the time.
Right.
Even when you turn your back on us, because one time you're gonna need us, because something's gonna happen in the community and nobody's listening to your story, but our arms are gonna be open wide. We've been open wide for 130 years. It's other Black media companies around the country. Check your city. There are Black press outlets pretty much in every major city.
Well, they are, Kevin, but they're fewer than they were before. So they're only about 230 Black owned. I have to say Black owned. There are people who are doing Black news, but they are not Black owned.
Right.
And so there are about 230 Black owned newspapers. I'll call it a newspaper. We still do a print product. I just got the one for this week. It's right here, but most of the people get it digitally. But there are only 230 across the entire United States. Many are small business owners. And so just like the radio stations, there are people who are looking at the Black-owned press to see if they can add that to their arsenal along with the other media companies that they have, that we have. But we are standing firm, as Kevin, as Impeccable said, across the country. If you're in a city with a Black-owned newspaper, for the AFRO, for example, for less than the cost of 2 Uber Eats, $40 a year. We waste $40 a day. You can get a digital subscription. $100 a year, you can get the print and the digital. You say, I don't want print, give it to somebody else who does. But we need to support our own. So I'm on the box now. I know we're about out of time, but I'm going to stand on the box. I want to thank Stephanie Mills. I want to thank those who tuned in. I want to again invite you to our gala, 130 years of just being continuously published. And thank our sponsors for that: AARP, Johns Hopkins University, Baltimore Urban League, Murphy Falcon Law, and Your Name Goes Next. And so buy a ticket, sponsor, and as Charles Randolph Wright told me recently, if it wasn't for the Black press, he said his name would have never gotten into print when he first started out. He said never. And my last thing on the box, my stepmother, Demita Joe. When Demita Joe first started on the road, they couldn't even stay in hotels. They had to sleep in cars on the side of the road. And Stephanie Mills, you're right. When they were finished with her, she'd made a couple of songs, done well. They were finished.
They were finished.
And
that's why I never left my base. That's why I never let them talk me into going so pop or so away from my people. Because sometimes when you go so far away from your people, they might not accept you back. And that's why I think why I'm working so much now, because I never left my core audience. Never.
Absolutely. Courtney, you in the box.
Stephanie, thank you again for this interview. Thank you for keeping it real and for being authentically like you. That is greatly appreciated. I hope that you do write that book, because I feel like your story does need to be told. And yeah, everyone's going to read that book.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I'm on the box now, Stephanie. I'll let you go last.
Oh, you going to let me go last?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
You have the final word of today's show. It's been so much said, everybody, and to have lived through this business and just to talk to you has been an inspiration, because my group has now hit legendary status, 25 years and eligible for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. If you make it, yeah. If you don't make it, who cares? Like you said, and that's another accolade that possibly doesn't define you, but it makes you kind of feel appreciated from the industry that you've spent so much time into. But I think my biggest lesson today is to learn from being a star, because stars shine, right? And then if they want to put the light up and dim the star, they can. But if you're great and you add value, then you'll always be able to, quote unquote, shine, and your people will love you. I mean, we've probably never been on a show together in a million years, but this year we've been on 2 shows.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
2 shows together, and probably many more to come. But real music you can't turn down. We gotta keep R&B in its proper place. And I think singing is going. I think the whole genre is going to make a comeback, and not just for the white artists who now they're allowed to do all of the R&B. The heart and the soul of the R&B have to come back, because that's ours. You know what I mean? And we can't allow them to take it. So again, thank you, Amp, my fellow manager behind the scenes, always doing what needs to be done. And Stephanie Mills, you're on the box to talk about whatever.
I'm on the box, and I just want to tell everybody to love themselves. Everybody has a gift. No one should be jealous of no one. Everyone has a gift, and I will always, until my dying day, support us. That's important to me. Love. All I have is love for us. I have love for everybody, but especially for my people.
Absolutely. This has been a very inspirational, one of a kind. This goes into the AFRO archives. No longer is it just newspapers, y'all. Video and full media now goes into our 130-year archives. Again, the gala is August 13th. We hope to see you. Hopefully you can join us. It's time to dress up. You've been looking for date night and wondering what to do. August 13th, it's there. And we have another legend, Kid Capri and Tommy Davidson, in the building to share, along with some of the newly elected officials, mayors of all over. It's gonna be dope. Anyway, get your tickets on afro.com now. Until next week, God willing. Remember, if you haven't smiled today, smile. It makes you feel better, and it'll make somebody else who might not be having so good a day. And call a senior. Remember, you always have to call your seniors, because they are home alone.
Yes.
Looking for just a quick call. You're not too busy. You're like, I'm so busy, I don't have time. Call grandma, call auntie, call uncle, and tell them you love them. Until next time, I'm your host, Kevin Impeccable Peck. Dr. Draper, our CEO, our fearless leader, Courtney holding down the Gen Z, and Stephanie Mills, the legendary superstar vocalist, mother, philanthropist, artist.
Thank you guys for having me. I enjoyed this so much.
You're welcome. And add truth teller and author to that list of.
Absolutely. And don't take no mess. And Al Haymon. No, just kidding. I'm not gonna say Al. All right, y'all. Have a great day, everybody. Peace.